Shelter FootyCast, here we go. Mark Reddings, Will Schofield here for the round 14 review. That's right. How are you, Skeet?
Going beautifully. I'm never drinking again because I gave my body a bit of a whack over the weekend because the missus was away and probably should have pulled, you know, when you say stop at 4, I think I should have stopped at 24. But anyway, that's life. We move on. And the Shelter went down a treat, the first couple, and then I sort of shifted gear into another colour of brand. But,
that was the error, correct?
There's always errors. I've done it for a long time. But great to be here and a lot of footy to talk about.
92 Premiership reunion. So you had a bit to do with that over the break?
On Friday, there was a lunch at Crown, and really good to see, obviously, Michael Malthouse was there. A couple of notable people not there. Obviously, Peter Matera with his health and his heart.
And you revealed on here, John Worsfold.
John Worsfold with COVID. So, unfortunately, the captain wasn't there. And, of course, a nice, lovely tribute for Maney at the end of the function. But it was great to have the old and the new when it comes to who was the more instrumental in premiership success. And we had, of course, the Gov up against Blue McKenna and Dean Kemp, Luke Shuey, Josh Kennedy, Peter Sumich, Nick Nat, of course, missed out, and Paul Harding. Yeah. So it was really good afternoon where I think the boys, they'll sleep well tonight.
Very good. If you are just joining us here on the Shelter FootyCast, we do a preview and a review every week, Mondays and Thursdays on the round just gone or the round coming up. A bit of a West Australian feel to it. We cover West Coast, we cover Fremantle. You can find us on socials, Shelter FootyCast, across Instagram. You can find us on YouTube. So we do film this if you are listening to it. Just look us up. You tell how would you go navigating YouTube, do you think, Mark Reddings? You find us over there, would you?
Yeah, YouTube's okay. Yeah, Instagram and others. I'm sort of still feeling this is a great benefit that you and I, the yin and yang of social media. You know your way around it, and I'm just still picking up the newspaper up the front and do it the old style way.
I did a bit of radio this morning with Simon Beaumont, who's of your era.
Yeah, good man.
He called TikTok Tic Tac on air.
Well, he's a goose.
So we are on TikTok, not Tic Tac. We'll need a couple of those to get through. So you can find us all there. It is brought to you by Shelter, born and brewed in Busselton. They got a big brand new brewery down there at the Busso Jetty. You can fly down there now. I might actually see if we can get some flights from the Shelter. Do you reckon they've got to pull down their airport there, or are they just doing beers?
I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to it once. And, of course, winter, really nice time to get away and spend some time down there with the best brewery in the area.
Very good. Okay, the big moment of round 14. So the last of the buys, I might add. So we've been covering sort of 6 games around. We're getting into the real stuff again. So round 14, the last of the buys. Jordan De Goey. I think we spoke about it before the weekend on the Thursday that Jordan De Goey was going to Bali. I think we did kind of mention it, and I just raised a couple of eyebrows whether that was a good idea or not. Well, he's gone. Turns out it wasn't a great idea, I don't think, because, look, he's no shock to me being all over social media. I'm not quite sure what he's done over there, to be really honest, but he's got a lot of coverage being over there. It's resulted in putting out a statement into the media, which we'll read to you shortly. But overall, I think we raised a few eyebrows, maybe him going over to Bali in the first place. What do you say from a media point of view?
Well, first question is, he's spoken to Collingwood, I'm assuming, and said, I'm going. Have they ticked it off, yay or nay? If they have, then that is very brave. And look, you go back to the New York incident where he was obviously a far more serious incident where there was allegations.
He was locked up at one stage.
Yeah, so there were allegations of that. And now Jeff Brown coming in as president of Collingwood backed De Goey. He came back with a clean slate. And Craig McRae, I think he's a pretty good people person. Yeah. He'll negotiate this well, but I struggle to think if he's going over there to Bali, wouldn't he or whoever's with him say, look, we'll go and have a few drinks, but do it bit more under the radar, as opposed to, Hotel Mexicola. If you want to find
where it was he?
Oh, I'm told that's where it was.
Oh, gosh.
If that was the case.
You've been there?
I have been there, actually. You lay back with the shooters.
You have a nice dinner in there. It's a nice Mexican restaurant.
Yeah.
And the big bell comes ringing out. They ring the bell, mate, and it turns into a nightclub in seconds.
You're eating, and at 7 o'clock, by 9 o'clock, you're talking Swahili.
That's your native tongue at the moment, Swahili, isn't it? I got to say, in 14 years of playing, not one teammate of mine went overseas in the middle of the year. Not one.
It's unusual.
I've played with some, greats, some guys that enjoy, having a few sherbets. Not one person ever went overseas. So I thought it was a strange thing to have done in the first place. But so I think he was asking for a little bit. But what's happened out of it? Jordan Goey's released a statement on Instagram, on social media. I want to read it to you. So he goes, I want to take the opportunity to thank my family, friends and supporters who have checked in or sent messages of support in the last 24 hours. I want to openly address the relentless pursuit and persecution of athletes by the media to create an uneducated, biased and ill-informed narrative that has gone too far. I'm one of the lucky ones with amazing support. However, not all athletes are so lucky. This will end in tragedy if no one speaks up. It's time for change.
That last paragraph is quite telling. Do you think, as a former athlete, that the media, the scrutiny and all that goes with it, does push players to the edge?
Look, I can empathise probably both sides. I'm out in the media now, but have been a player. I can empathise with players that are clearly bigger than most. So that's not me. I wasn't one of those guys. But Nick Natanui is. Ben Cousins was. Bailey Smith is. Even guys that have played in premierships, so Stephen May, those guys, when that happens. And Jordan De Goey is one of those guys. He is a polarising figure. He's made some mistakes and he's been in the media. So when he goes out and does things, people watch. And he wouldn't be able to go to a restaurant in Perth, let alone Bali, where Bali is, as we know, it's full of Australians up there, right? So
it's a party town.
It is. And people know it's a party town. So him going there, I think, was a poor decision in the first place. But I can empathise with the fact that, going on to that issue of do the media relentlessly pursue athletes, I think to a point, yes, because of the way the news cycle works, because of the way, people act and role model status gets thrown around, then yes, I do agree with Jordan De Goey, but that doesn't mean it was the right decision to go there. And so there's kind of two elements. I think people should be able to live their life.
Yeah, true. But by the same token, just take out the Bali case, New York, it had to have coverage. He was charged. He was in the clink for a while. So that is a story. Any way you look at it, a high-profile AFL footballer gets charged overseas for particularly what he was alleged to have done. It had to be covered. You can't just say, well, no, it's not a story. I'll tell you, the interest, the Herald Sun, for instance, big selling newspaper and biggest in Australia, if they have that story, they will go to town on it. And you're right, they probably give it 6 pages when it's worth 1, but that gets people turning the page.
So now, though, he's created that for himself, or has the media created it for him? That environment where anything he does now is relentlessly pursued, in his words. Because if second two-gamer from North Melbourne goes to Bali, does the same thing, it's not getting the same reaction, is it?
No.
If Jordan De Goey does it.
By the same token, Nick Natanui, who, look, I can't recall any time where there's been any hint of scandal surrounding him. The individual also has to work out, okay, the time and place. And the mid-season break, probably not the time and place. And for Jordan at the moment, given the delicate nature of his contract moving forward and his future, look, he's playing great footy. Now, does that mean that he should be given time to go and be himself and have some fun? Again, we don't exactly know what happened over there, but the club wouldn't be happy. There's no doubt they'd be, it's just another headache that you don't need from one of your star players.
Which could have been stopped. When I said I haven't seen anyone go overseas, I've known of players to ask to go overseas, and West Coast said, no, you can't go. So I think Collingwood probably had the right to do that. You are employed by the football club as a player. It is the buyer, but you don't get a break from being paid. You're still employed by that. So in any other normal workplace, when you're employed, you can't just go and do whatever you want. If you want to take leave and go and do whatever you want, you can. So if he was needed to get away and needed to get out of Australia and needed to do that, take a leave and don't get paid and then go do what you want. But from the employee point of view, I think Collingwood has a right to say, look, mate, I don't think that's the right idea.
Is he naive or silly to think when he's having a bit of fun in Bali, he must know there's a couple of mobile phones on him, at least one.
I don't know how that gets out. It's almost like he's taken it. I'm not quite sure how that goes.
It's bizarre, but look, he's a great player. You know what? You're right. It's just bizarre that he has been given permission to go over there mid-season by, given what's only happened, a few months ago.
I will touch on the back end of that. A West Australian big story of the week. Jeremy Mcgovern, he's still in hospital. So he's punctured his lung, some sort of laceration to internal organs, and is not going well. So, he's in a stable condition, but he's been thrown around a few hospitals, I believe. He's started at Royal Perth, and then they're trying to get him to Hollywood, and then he had to get scanned somewhere else, and they're trying to get him to the Mount, and they're trying to move him all over the place. So with broken ribs, he's been on and off. He's been on and off beds. He's been in and out of scanning, X-ray machines, MRI machines, trying to figure out what's going on. So not a great result for West Coast.
No, and it's still given the hospital situation. I think COVID, they're still very mindful of that, aren't they?
Yeah, it hasn't been a great situation over the last 24 hours for Jeremy Mcgovern in that front either. So, look, does that spell the end of the season? Probably not. I don't think that will, but he certainly won't be playing next week. I can tell you that right now. You're not playing off the back of a punctured lung a week later. So, big news, I suppose, for West Coast, but disappointing as well.
Yeah, look, and of course, going back to 2018, that was... this sounds more severe than 2018, clearly, but he's been through these types of injuries, and given it West Coast position, just let him heal properly and get back, hopefully, for the back end of the year.
He is one of those players that gets random injuries. He always
plays sore with something.
It's not funny, but so his nickname at the club for a period of time was Eeyore. So off Winnie the Pooh, he's always walking around, and he's a bit sad, and he's a bit sore. That was Gov Monday, every Monday. Oh, my ribs, oh, my knee. Oh. But he finds a way to play. He's very tough, but he always has something going on.
Is it an attention-seeking?
No, it's not. No, I won't go that far. I don't think breaking your ribs and puncturing your lungs.
No, I'm not talking about that, but the Eeyore, did he cop it well?
No, absolutely not. No, which is why it continued. It absolutely continued every day. Okay, West Coast v Fremantle. Sorry, West Coast and Fremantle. Fremantle have the bye. Their waffle side, Peel Thunder, played.
Yep.
They had a few guys that have been coming back from injury play. Tabiner played, I believe, pretty well.
3 goals, I think.
So he's put his hand up and said, I'm ready to go again. I think our man, Josh Tracy, might have injured himself.
Yeah, I think he's done ankle or lower leg, certainly.
Didn't look good, the picture I saw.
No. And even if he was 100% fit, Josh Tracy's a bit down the pecking order at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah, which is strange. The game we saw him play took 9 contested marks and
tore it up,
marks,
didn't he?
And, took the whole game on his own. But that's what you're going to get as a forward. We will move on to West Coast. Liam Henry, I think, was best on ground. So,
did you see his goal?
No, I didn't.
I was supposed to be I saw it was in the pocket. It's probably the goal of the year in the waffle.
Really?
Yeah.
Gun. So it'd be good to see him back in the side because I think he adds something to Freo that they don't have. They've got a lot of role players, but do they have that flair?
Yeah, I think
do they need that flair?
I think they've got. Well, Michael Frederick, when he comes back,
is he flary? I think he's just a hard worker.
Yeah, I'm not sure. See, for me, Liam Henry is a fair way off it in terms of getting into the side as it stands with their form. I'm concerned about his frame and for instance, against a Geelong or a bigger bodied side like Richmond, I just think he's. Obviously, he's quick and he has all the tricks, but yeah, I don't think he's.
I don't know if that's a thing anymore. I played with Lewis Jetta for 10 years. He was the skinniest. He didn't have calves. I don't know how he used to run around, but he was the skinniest. He wasn't strong. You don't have to be strong to play anymore. I don't think that's a thing anymore.
Okay.
I think get him back in there.
Point taken.
Okay. But the other game of the weekend, West Coast v Geelong. Look, I came out on here. I started here, and then I actually continued my calling of West Coast to win across social media, across radio, across TV.
You went out on a limb.
I went right out on it. And people are coming at me and say, Geelong's going to win. It's like, okay, you've picked the $1.03 favourite. Stay tuned for Jackie Boy on social media's insight continued. West Coast go down. They lose by 18 points. We called that game together on 6PR. Big day for you and I on Saturday. I thought West Coast could have won that game.
Yeah, look, they were, whatever is said at the end of the game, they were so much better than anything I've seen from them this year.
And it wasn't. Oh, they were improved a little bit. It looked like completely different. Yeah, and a different team.
Yeah, it was true. And it was the energy that I just think's been missing for so much of the year now. Whether that was inspired by having the 92 reunion as part of the week, the build up, whether it was having just those senior players back and giving guidance to lesser lights. It was really encouraging, and I think Eagles supporters at half time it was 6-5-41 apiece. When the Eagles kicked a point to tie it up, half the crowd stood and applauded.
Remember they hit the lead. They hit the lead, and it was a standing ovation.
It erupted.
Would have been the first time in the second half where West Coast have been in front against anyone.
Absolutely. So the fans loved it. Bottom line is, though, Scully, they've lost 9 in a row now, which is a club record.
Yeah, not a record you want, all-time high. I thought it was gritty. They across the day, they didn't look like they gave up, which I don't think you ever would, but they just didn't look like they ever went away. They continued trying, they continued kicking goals and defended well for most of the day. So if they could take that into any other game, I think they'd probably beat, 12, 13, 14 sides, other sides. Top 4 sides out of it, and Geelong's probably getting up towards that mix. I reckon they would beat most teams playing the way they did.
Yeah, and look, I think Geelong were far from impressive.
Yeah.
But Chris Scott will walk away. He knew Perth was going to be a tough task, given their record after the bye not great. So, look, it's not one for the ages for them, but sometimes you just got to have those gritty type of wins and hope that there's a bit of improvement in the next few weeks.
Cam Guthrie had 25 disposals, 13 tackles. He was outstanding for Geelong. Isaac Smith, I thought, wound back the clock a little bit. His run was important for them. Interestingly, Hawkins and Cameron, they kicked some goals between them, but they didn't have an impact. I didn't think.
I thought Cameron was good early. He up and down the ground. Do
you remember
he's
calling him much in the second half?
No, not so much. But
then Jeremy Mcgovern was off injured, so that was Rhett Bazzo's doing.
Well, speaking of Rhett Bazzo, how about this for his first game? He gets a look at Jeremy Cameron and the Hawk first up, so we'll be able to tell his relatives for a long time to come that was his big display AFL debut. Look, Cameron's. When you see him live, the power running that he has, and the Hawk 700 goals, outstanding. I mean, we saw Josh Kennedy a few weeks back achieve that. He's one of the modern day greats, isn't he? The Hawk.
Yeah, he is. I think he and Josh Kennedy probably they've been playing for a similar amount of time. And Tom Hawkins was in my draft. Josh Kennedy, the draft before mine. So they've been doing their own way. They play kind of similar, different though. But I think Tomahawk's always been quite good once the ball hits the ground. Tomahawk probably uses his strength a bit more than Kennedy, whereas Kennedy is a work rate guy, can get you both ways that way. But great to see him kick 700, Tom Hawkins. I've got a few connections back in Geelong through that way. Did just come across Josh Kennedy actually after the game and a bit of a chat to him, potentially upstairs at my house for my son's 4th birthday. He's got his eyes on 700 for West Coast. So we kicked 700 overall, right?
Yes.
He's got to get 7 more goals for the season. So
he'll walk that in.
Well, that's what I said to him, but he's a
Isn't that interesting? Isn't it interesting? Because you ask a footballer about a milestone or an achievement, never think about it. But cricketers, you ask them what their average is, they know to the 3rd decimal point. So he knows.
Yeah, he does know. He knows because it's always been really important to him. Look, he sees his time at Carlton as important to his development, but he also sees himself as a footballer, as a West Coast footballer. So the 700 goals, when he did kick it overall, was a magnificent moment. But whenever he's done milestone videos, he doesn't do like the 100-game video. He didn't do 100 overall. He did 100 for West Coast, 150 for West Coast, 200. So
okay,
he does count his Carlton stuff, but it's really important to him, the West Coast stuff. So I thought that was a nice little bit of insight.
One quick one on JK. Bowing out at the end of this year, we think, will he accept, I think their last game, I'm guessing, given they played Gold Coast round 1, is away, I'm thinking.
Do you know where it is? Geelong is round 23.
No.
You're not playing that.
No. So, farewell game, round 22.
So, they play in the away derby, round 22, against Fremantle.
Oh, dear.
And then Adelaide is round 21. So, look, not putting words in anyone's mouth, but I think if you did have to look ahead and if Josh Kennedy wasn't going to go on, you got to use your brain. You're not playing him in Geelong in the last game. You're not doing that, are you? Sure, as a coach, he's an all-time club legend. You're going to give him a farewell game.
But do you give that choice to him?
Absolutely. When you're bottom of the ladder.
Yeah. But
you got it.
Why do you want to play? Because he's not one of those guys that seems to be enamoured with...
No, I don't think he is either.
No.
But I look, if
the romance of the game, you'd love those farewell matches.
Yeah, if you had to pick one place where you wouldn't want to play your last game, it'd be Geelong in Geelong, and that's coming from someone from Geelong. It just sounds a disgusting place to play. There you go, West Coast and Fremantle all wrapped up. You are here on the Shelled Up FootyCast. Now, for the rest of the round, Skeet, we're going to get through some of these games. Now, we're going to go all the way back to Thursday night.
Yeah.
I hope we do continue with the Thursday night footy games. I do enjoy the Thursday night games. Not sure if they are. West Coast actually play Friday night this week, coming up against Essendon here at Optus Stadium. So it'll be a good game.
Absolutely. Essendon were pretty good on the weekend. We'll touch on them shortly.
They will. But let's go first to Richmond V Carlton, if you can think all the way back to there. Both of us picked Carlton. Richmond win by 15
We
points.
knew we were in trouble and you did say this. We just know that Richmond's going to come out and go bang, 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 set Carlton on their heels, and the weather played into their hands. Everything that we should have thought of before the game, we thought of after the start of the game.
Like Thursday night footy at the MCG against a good opponent. What are Richmond going to do? They're not going to come out slowly. Like I think I was going to. I either was going to or did text you. Have a look at Richmond go at it here. So Richmond come out and they do what good sides do. They started well. They kicked goals to start the game. And Carlton were just always playing catch-up the entire game. There was a couple of moments that took my eye. Caleb Marchbank, unfortunately, goes down with a knee injury. So he's going to miss 8 weeks after missing almost 1,000 games, that sort of area. So that's disappointing for him. Shea Bolton, I feel like a dinosaur talking about this, but late in the last quarter, he'd been clashing with Doherty for a lot of the game, probably 5 minutes into the last quarter. So a lot left in the game. He got a ball over the back. He ran away from Doherty and he turned around before he kicked the goal and he gave him it showed him the footy, right? Here we go. Gave him tongue out, torped it up into the stands. I didn't like it, Skate.
I didn't like it. Nor did Damien Harwick. He said it's not us.
Neither did Nankervis, his captain, either. But a lot of people, when I put that out in social land, came back at me and said, you're a fossil, you're a dinosaur, it's a bit of fun, it's enjoyment. You can't cut him down because he's trying to enjoy himself. Well, where do you sit on an old media
No, you know what? If I was at the club and in his team, absolutely, that's the last thing you want him to be doing, that sort of stuff, particularly with the game. Even if the game's done, it's just not a good look. I mean, American sport,
Yes.
In NFL, of course, there's a taunting rule in place, but in American sport, it's almost, we're not at that stage where we're showboating.
I probably take back that I didn't like it. I just thought if I was in Doherty's position, this is what I said, I would just love to be able to continue and just absolutely clip him, just run through him because he deserved a little clip. Don't hurt him seriously.
Yeah.
But just like a 1970s, 1980s, just a elbow to the ribs or something. Yeah, just a little smart ass. Like I could see Doherty. I would have been fusing if I was fuming because you can't do anything about it. And then he knows that he's not getting a clip. He knows no one's coming to remonstrate with him because he can't anymore because he can get fined. I just would have liked a nice little shirt front, put him on his backside and then play on. Because I do like the theatre. I like the way he plays. I like him as a player. It was just that moment. I would have liked him to cop a bit in return because I know he didn't expect anything in return.
Yeah, and look, I love him. I think he's been at Optus Stadium a couple of times. I've got a bit of a footy crush on him. He just does things on the footy field.
You do like him.
Well, he's just a beautiful player to watch. He's graceful. He's quick. He does all that. I just think you're right. Your logic is right, but keep these sort of moments happening. I think just it's not harming anyone. It's a bit of
correct.
It's a 1%.
So from that point onwards, I was just cheering so hard for Carlton because I thought, imagine how stupid this little man is going to look when he looks back and I shouldn't have done that. And Carlton were coming. They kick a goal to put them within 3 points, I think, and they take it to the bunker. It was called a goal, right, by the goal umpire. They overturned it with a touch by Broad from Richmond, who by all means stood by that he touched it, but there was no footage that confirmed that. And then what happens is, so they strip that off them, goes back to 9 points. Richmond literally that kick out, kicked it all the way back the other way, go ahead by 15 points. So it was a 12-point turnaround like that, game over.
Are they the Smoky? Should they qualify for the finals? Are they the team that, if not ladder position, that others fear?
Unfortunately, yes. I don't like watching Richmond play. I hate watching them play, and it's not because they've been successful. You've got to respect it, unfortunately. But I just think visually they're not a good side to watch play. And
particularly wet weather, which they absolutely thrive in.
Correct.
But yeah, they're going to be. Look, their record in the last 2 months is outstanding. Correct. So they're going to be knocking on the door.
Mackay was very good. He kicked 4 goals too, and of course, Big Lynchy was back. He kicked 3 goals as well. So there's our first tip of the week. Wrong. Essendon defeated Saints by 35 points. Who we both pick?
We're 0 from 2, brother.
Both picked the Saints. Of course, you got it. you cannot pick Essendon. I don't know where this performance comes from, right? So Ben Rutten's out there last week, and I gave him a bit of a clip, out there remonstrating with his own players in press conferences last week. They were disappointing again. They've been disappointing all year, and they come out against St Kilda, and they look fair dinkum like a good side.
Does that not say as much about St Kilda as it does about Essendon? Because St Kilda can be a side that does this to you. They have this run of matches where we've seen them this year, really competitive and winning matches and top 4 potentially at one stage, and they drop a game to a team that, let's be honest, they wipe them off the floor. A big 2-metre Peter got a fair bit of the footy, and he's had a pretty good year, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I think people would think he was a bit of an up and down guy. Peter Wright's been very good this year. He gives them a real focal point, which they've missed. They haven't had anyone. They've had, Jake Stringer's been running around up there for the last 5 years. They'd like to get him up into centre bounces and playing there. So Jake Stringer was the guy that was held out by Rutten in the press conference last week after coming back from a hamstring. He starts this game. He's had 4 touches at half time, and I'm thinking, oh no, like he's going to get dropped here. Listen to this for a third quarter. 9 disposals, 4 tackles, 2 goals, 1 in the third quarter. It's the premiership quarter, and it turned the game for them. And Ben Rutten probably would be going, a little pat on my back.
Yeah, a little poke and a little bit of a prod.
So it was good. I mean, he's a player that, a little bit like Jordan De Goey, he can turn a game like that because of his power, because of his speed. So he comes back, plays well. Essendon's midfield played well. Overall, Essendon's effort finally aligned with their structure and their system. That sort of haphazard way that they've been playing, well, their effort and their pressure and their tackling allowed them to play away, and it made St Kilda look silly. And I think your point's right. St Kilda, I don't know where they're at.
Absolutely. And look, Darcy Parish, who is a 35, 40 disposal a week man, he wasn't there. Just wonder about Essendon. He gets a lot of the footy, but he doesn't hurt you. I mean,
does Merritt hurt you?
No, probably not.
No,
probably not.
And Caldwell's in there at times. He doesn't hurt. They don't have a hurtful midfielder, do they?
Someone to cut you up, no. So a good win. You've got to give them credit for that. So, and they come here this week, so that's going to be
a big game.
Big game for them. Friday night footy. See if they can back it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a little one. Do West Coast have a chance against Essendon?
Absolutely, absolutely. If they play anywhere near like they did on Friday, on Saturday, they can win.
Okay, very good. So 0-2 on the tips at the moment. I should say you tipped Geelong and I tipped West Coast.
Yeah, but I'm prepared to. That was ballsy, but you know what? I said to you on air, I thought that was a moral victory for you, because if you'd said to me they're going to get within 18 points, I would have said, I think it's probably a 6 or 7 goal game.
Yep. Okay. So what does that make me?
Yeah, no, a loser.
Thank you very much, Mark Reddings. Port defeat Sydney by 23 points. Who do we pick?
We're 0 from 4, brother.
Both pick Sydney, and again, of course, yeah. You said to me before we started here, why didn't we pick Port? Why would you pick Port? Yeah. They've been dreadful. They have been dreadful.
They got within 2 goals of Richmond at the MCG.
Dreadful. I just haven't liked what I've seen from Port Adelaide, but clearly they put the game together to keep their season alive. If they lost that game, I reckon it's almost finals, no chance. But they win the game against Sydney, who they're my team this year that I think can really challenge, but they're putting together some really inconsistent performances now. So, again, it's another one of those games that doesn't say more about Sydney for us, or does it say more about Port Adelaide? Is it a good thing, Port Adelaide plays so well that they beat Sydney, or does Sydney play poorly to lose a game that maybe they should have won?
Yeah, exactly. Look, what a day for Peter Adams. Interesting couple of minutes for him. And from a West Australian point of view, Brent Teakle, who picked up by Port mid-season draft.
He'd been there under 14 days and debuts.
And
breaks his collarbone.
Then injured. Yeah, gone.
I think he's broken his collarbone. He was out there for about 35 minutes. Again, from Simon Beaumont, there was a quote, apparently him walking off the ground with Ken Hinkley. Best 35 minutes of my life.
Like it.
Yeah.
Northampton boy comes up with a good quote.
Yeah, so it looked like he'd make a really good impact with Port Adelaide, which I think he's done. Disappointing for him. He's going to miss some time, but hopefully he's done enough to maybe earn himself a long-term contract at the club, which is what the mid-season draft's there for. I think guys like that, not guys that you're sort of taking a bit of a hopeful pick on. We watched Jai Cully in the Waffle. and walked out. I actually walked out to my car with him. Really nice guy, and he seems to be coming along nice. He did some good things, Jai Cully, if we can just go off.
Yeah, just quickly, we saw a couple of beautiful left foot passes inside 50 and a nice side step. So just those little glimpses, you think, yeah, I mean, he's a mid-season draft pick. He's not going to, he hasn't been picked up previously because there were areas that clubs didn't think were up to the required standard. But I think they should at least explore playing him back into this year. I'm sure they will.
Yep, I'm sure they will too. Okay, so there we go. We're 0-4 from the tips. Bulldogs defeat GWS by 20. We both picked the bloody Bulldogs.
Yeah, well done. Giants. The Giants started slowly. They got back into the contest. And there's two names that stand out for me. Toby Green, 7 goals. Career high. Outstanding. And Cody Waitman, who, I had a look at the vision today of that elbow.
Dislocated his elbow.
Just horrendous.
He came back out.
Yes.
They strapped him up. I've played with a couple of guys that dislocated out. Josh Kennedy did it one year. My best mate back in school did it.
And played on that day.
Yeah, neither of those did. That's what I mean. No, it's a shocking injury. It's a really... Because you effectively lose all support in your elbow. So they would have had to completely strap it up and lock it in place. He came back 10 minutes later and he had this emotionless look on his face on the bench. I was like, what is going on here? So he's kicked 5 goals. Norton, the astronaut, he kicks 5 goals. I don't know who was favourite coming into this game. I don't actually know why we picked the Bulldogs going.
They were slight favourites. I just think the Giants a little bit flaky against certain teams. And then look, the Bulldogs, you talk about Port having to keep their season rolling. Well, it's exactly the case for the Bulldogs, who have been a strange side to follow this year, week in, week out. What caught my eye, the highest scoring game of the year, 230 points, absolute shootout. How you replicate that more often in modern day footy, I'm not sure. But both these sides, as soon as they had the footy, sent it. And look at the clearance players or the mids for both teams. And if you won the footy,
I mean the Bulldogs. So Bontempelli, McRae, Dunkley, Treloar, and then on the other side, Kelly, Cornelio, Green, Tom Green, who's been turned himself into a great player. They've got some. That's probably 2 of the best midfields going around. So maybe that was it. Maybe it was just Clash of the Titans, and they go, see you later. I'll see you at the end of the game.
It sounds like it, yeah. So, but important win for the Dogs. And let's be honest, we went in there thinking, what will the Bailey Smith controversy do to the club? Well, they've rode out the wave.
That is important. I mean, because if they lose that game, then people start saying they're falling apart at the seams, which they're doing to Melbourne right now, actually. Dan Contz, the man behind the microphone over there, you told me someone suggested, maybe on a rival network, could Melbourne miss the 8?
Yeah, I saw an article that was they're in trouble. They could miss the 8 because of their run home, and it's so tight in that top 8. I mean, it's clickbait.
Could Melbourne miss the 8? I don't think so.
No,
whatsoever.
Not at all. But
I still think they're a top 4 side.
Yeah, I wouldn't be getting overly panicky just yet. But I'll tell you what, if you're a team like Brisbane, like Fremantle, there's nothing to fear.
Yeah, good point.
I did click on the article. I'll give him
Gold Coast defeat Adelaide by 43 points in an absolute cracking game. Best of the round on the Sunday. Why are they putting these games on the Sunday? Gold Coast Adelaide. How many people would have gone to that game, and how many people would have watched that?
Yeah, not many. It would have
43 point win.
Would have been skinny. My second favourite side, the Gold Coast. I think that'd be yours as well. You'd like the Gold Coast Suns just to have some success, make the investment worthwhile. We've seen the Giants push up. And now this team, look, the 8's probably going to be a bridge too far. But they
you think?
Oh, well, they're starting from behind the 8 ball for the last half of the season. I hope they can. They've got some tough matches. I think Collingwood and Richmond in the next few weeks coming up. But I'll tell you what, I'll give you credit again. Jared Witts, the captain, who would have thought when he left Collingwood, he'd go up to the Gold Coast, make such an impact and be skipper. That has been one of the really good success stories under Stuart Dew.
What surprised me about Gold Coast, I think coming into the season, King goes down with an ACL. He's a big star. They lose him, and who's going to kick the goals? Well, on the weekend, Ainsworth, Rankin, Casbolt, Joel all kicked 3 goals. So they're getting quite an even spread. They look dangerous when it goes in there, and I think they've got the midfield. We did actually cover this on BackChat at the start of the year. The way that the Gold Coast Suns have a good year and win the flag, we went through everyone who could win the flag. Everyone can win the flag. The way they're going to win it is by attacking. They don't have a good enough defence to be parking the bus and basing their game on defence like a Fremantle, right? They need to flat out attack, which they're doing, and I like watching them play. So there you go, 43 points.
They kicked away late. They really hit. Adelaide got to within, I think, 2.5, 3 goals in the last quarter, and a good team under those circumstances finds a way to respond, and they did that very well. And again, big scores up there at Metricon Stadium after, I think it was 3 goals in the first quarter.
And did you, I mean, that was the Sunday afternoon game. Had you finished off your full box of Jats crackers by this game?
I'll be honest, I didn't get to Jats crackers this weekend. No, I didn't get.
That is surprising.
I hardly ate any dinner because I was just either has to have toast or when my wife's away, it just goes pear shaped. It goes down the tube in a hurry, mate. You know what I'm saying? You know,
no interest in cooking up a big meal
for one person. So no, I didn't have the Jats crackers. But geez, I'm glad she's home because it just gets me back in my right lane, Scully. You know what I'm talking about.
Well done. That's the round review preview. Thanks to Shelter. Shelter XPA X Factor. Right, this is actually my favourite part of the show. We're getting some slabs out to the X Factor, the West Australian X Factor of the week. Nice little box of XPAs. Now, we haven't given one to a West Coast player yet because usually there's West Coast and Freo playing and Freo are winning, West Coast aren't. Well, this week we had a West Australian player and he plays for West Coast.
Yeah, Jermaine Jones.
Yes.
JJ, who watched him on Saturday. We both liked some of the stuff he did. He breaks lines, and there's not too many players at West Coast who've got that acceleration. So he's a player that I think they can trust for the rest of the year to build and hopefully establish himself as a regular.
West Coast played some guys in different positions. Jackson Nelson started at half forward and put a bit of time into Tom Stewart, and he was very quiet for the first half. Tom Stewart, he had 6 disposals, I think, at half time. Elliot Yeo went back, and I really liked him there. Yep, yeah, absolutely. And I thought he was really good, Elliot Yeo. And Jermaine Jones went back. So he hasn't played back all year. He hasn't been playing off a half-back flank. He's been playing on the wing. He's playing inside. He's been half-forward flank. I really liked him there because exactly as you said, he's got the speed to break the lines. He's got a good nous with the footy. He understands what's going on. And he's a good user as well, left footer. I thought he was the XPA X Factor.
Yeah, we'll give it to him. And our first one to a West Coast Eagles player. And maybe they can go back-to-back this weekend when they take on the Bombers.
I will say Jermaine Jones did lose his licence for driving under the influence, I believe. At the end of it was publicised. This is known.
Yes.
So we'll just say drink responsibly and not
of course,
while you're driving, Jermaine.
Yeah, and not during maybe just don't hit him during the season like we would, and
very good.
Give it a breather. But no, kudos to him.
Very good. Regional footy roundup, slab of beer. We need your story. Shelter FootyCast. Can you tell me the email, please, Dan? I know we've got a special little email done up. If you've got a regional footy story, if something happened on the weekend, I was out at the Kalamunda Footy Club last night. I'll give you my regional footy story of the week. So there's a bunch of boys there who played on the weekend. The email, by the way, is footycast@shelterbrewing.com.au. The best regional footy story will win a slab of shelters, and we don't have one this week. So if you want a slab of free shelters, just send us a story.
Perfect. Get on board.
So my regional footy story for the weekend is I'm out at the Kalamunda Footy Club. I'm with Bill Brownless. We run a show out there. Billy Brownless, been doing it for 40 years. Very bloody good. I just played my role in that situation. I've told a few premiership stories, bit of a laugh, but Billy Brownless had the guys in absolute stitches for the whole time. But there was a whole bunch of boys who had played on the weekend, young fellas, right? And they were enjoying themselves, having a couple of shelters over in the corner. Anyway, end of the night happened. I was in a nice suit. I've been working with you during the day. Had my RM Williams on, so not this sort of kid.
Very slick.
I didn't have my Julius Marlowe's on, but I did have my RM Williams on. And they had a footy. They purchased this footy, this Geelong Cats footy. It's one of those shiny ones. It wasn't a real Sharon. It was real plasticky. And I had my RMs on, and it was wet. And they'll go, come and have a kicks go out in the oval. They're all blind.
With the lights on and you're having a kick in the dark.
No lights on. It's pitch black. And I'm going, boys, I've got my RMs on. I don't want to. Anyway, go east. Winding me. I go, hey, come on, give me it here. I'll do it from the concrete. So I've kicked it over. I've got it. And I'm just in my head, I'm thinking, don't fall over.
Don't slip, yeah.
Right? Because they're the good ones. They got the almost the wooden sole. They're quite slippery, the RMs.
Yeah.
And I think, don't fall over, and hit the target. You don't want to embarrass yourself here. So anyway, ball's slippery. I try wiping it. Still wet though. I look down. My boot's actually wet too. And I think, this is not going to go well. Anyway, one of the lads, blonde kid, gone leading out. He hit us up. I've just wound back, done the best looking kick I can muster. It's hit the outside of my RM. It's got it right angles. It's hit an upright pole, hit the pole, gone and smashed back into the windows of the footy club, and everyone inside has turned around.
Hell
What's
of a
going
fright.
on out there? All the boys are going, yeah, just like when you were a player, you couldn't hit a target. Anyway, might have to get a slab out to the Kalamunda boys. It was very good fun.
My old neck of the woods, Kalamunda. I think Rail and Reserve was their home ground, but yeah, the Colour boys, they know how to have a party and get stuck into it, and they love the footy.
If you want to send us a listener question as well, get it into that email, footycast@shelterbrewing.com.au. We can do listener questions. We can do regional stories. I'm sick of talking about Skeets, Jats, Crackers. Actually, I'm not actually. I would like weekly Jats, Crackers updates.
Yeah, we'll find you different insights into our lives and how we tick and what we're allowed to do and what we're good at, what we're not as men, as husbands, as fathers. And we'll also tell you what we struggle with. We're quite open about. Not just footy, we're going to tell you a bit about ourselves on this. I think, aren't we?
Oh, bloody oath we are. How bloody good. This is taking a turn for the
A
best.
confessional.
We're done for the day, mate. I'm going to let you get home. You're going to enjoy your first home-cooked meal in a few days.
Giddy up.
Very good. See you later, Skate.